You want an example of a tough race? This is a tough race, if ever there was one. Oh my god. Okay, we are down to the third to the last video in this Oscar coverage series. Finally, this time we're talking about Best Actor. And I was dreading this part because this is so difficult. This category is insane. Now, I'm not going to delve into the criteria again because it's the same as all the other three acting awards, but again, we're looking for depth here. That's the most important part. Like, no matter what the physicality is, we're looking for depth of character. So we will get right into it. The nominees for Best Actor are Christian Bale in American Hustle as Irving Rosenfeld, Bruce Dern in Nebraska's Woody Grant, Leonardo DiCaprio in The Wolf of Wall Street as Jordan Belfort, Chiwetel Ejiofor in 12 Years a Slave as Solomon Northup, and Matthew McConaughey in Dallas Buyers Club as Ron Woodruff. And like I said, this is an incredible list. There is not one weak actor in this entire list. Everyone is so mind-blowingly good. Like, can there be like a five-way tie? Please, so like I don't want to pick. Really, this list and this year in terms of lead actors is so strong. You could have easily, in my opinion, put in Joaquin Phoenix for Her. You could have put in Oscar Isaac for Inside Llewyn Davis. You could have put in Ethan Hawke from Before Midnight. All of those guys really deserve it, and lots more for movies I didn't even get to watch. But alas, this is my duty, and so we will put them in order. At fifth place, I'm going to put Christian Bale. Now, Christian Bale, again, is like the master of transforming his body. He's either super buff or super skinny, and here he grows a belly. And what I like is that Christian Bale never, changes his body for just, gimmick or anything. He really owns his character, and here he really inhabits that whole archetype of the sleazy businessman. Like he really lets off that sleaze, but at the same time the smoothness. Like I've never seen someone capture that car salesman vibe so well before, because it really is like the way he talks to everybody is like he's trying to make a deal with something, but at the same time, it's just really you get that that's his thought process. So what I like again about Christian Bale's character is that you really do feel that he's crumbling under the pressure, because among the lead actors in this movie, he really is the one facing the most, emotional turmoil. But unlike the real Christian Bale, Irving Rosenfeld, this movie does not actually go out all mad and hurt anybody like verbally or whatever. Like it still feels like Irving Rosenfeld is a thinking man. It really feels like he's just planning his next con, and that I thought was such an incredibly complex role to play, and Christian Bale does it so well. However, he ends up in fifth place because American Hustle really is like this star power vehicle. And when your entire cast is super good and everyone has pretty much equal screen time, like you kind of do get a bit lost in a sky that's so filled with stars that are just as bright as you, if that metaphor actually works. But anyway, yeah, fifth place for me. Now at fourth place, I'm sorry to his fans, but I'm gonna have to put Leonardo DiCaprio here. Now, don't get me wrong, Leonardo DiCaprio is always a great actor. He has his trademark charisma in this movie, but at the same time, what surprised me is that he does physical things in this movie, like physical comedy and physical like contortions and stuff that you would never expect from Leo. And he just pulls it off so well. It does not feel like, at first it's like, oh my gosh, he's capable of doing this, but then he completely sells it. He follows through. And Leo really was like the perfect fit for this role, because Jordan Belfort, in my mind, really had to be like this charming character, and he gets that across. But at the same time, you really get the sense that he's just this depraved human being, and he really is like this coward and a big baby inside. And somehow Leo was able to pull that off. Also, like I just don't know how these actors do it. Like Jonah Hill's character, he's despicable but fun to watch at the same time, because you're just wondering how bad can this guy get. And really, it is just this tightrope walk between charm and disgusting behavior. He's an extremely charismatic guy, and he really fit this movie very well. But he ends up in fourth place because, again, like many of the other actors in this movie, he doesn't have much of an arc, and he is pretty much like kind of the same guy throughout the entire movie. And that's, when you're going for best actor award, people like to see range, so that's not exactly a very rangy role. Now, third place, we have like the opposite of Jordan Belfort's character. We have Chiwetel Ejiofor as Solomon Northup in 12 Years a Slave. He is, like I said, the opposite in terms of he is completely dignified the entire time. Even when he's going through all these harsh conditions, you really get the sense that this dude is just so, like, he knows what is right. He's not going to let this destroy the very core of who he is. Like he says, he wants to live, not just survive. And what surprised me about Ejiofor's performance was that I was really expecting this movie to be Oscar baity to me. By Oscar baity, I mean like very sentimental, very, overstated. But this movie is so understated. Everything is, this entire movie is about nuance, really. And Chiwetel Ejiofor's performance, it's really all in those eyes. And he really shows, Solomon Northup's journey from his emotional journey from being kind of like, against this whole situation he's in. Like, he's still pretty resistant to it. And at a certain point in the movie, when he just kind of accepts the situation. To me, this performance really is not melodramatic at all. Just Chiwetel Ejiofor is famous in Europe, I think, for being a theater actor, and it really shows here. But it's even more impressive that a theater actor who sometimes has to act very loud and stuff can give such a quiet, nuanced performance. Like, every tiny victory that Solomon Northup experiences in this movie, you feel it, man. You really feel like there's genuine joy in like these tiny victories. And Chiwetel Ejiofor, I think, did such a great job because, again, this is a role where actors could be tempted to, show off and stuff. But he knows how to kind of step aside and let the story speak for itself. He doesn't try to steal the show or anything. Now, at second place, I'm going to put Bruce Dern from Nebraska. And words can't describe how much I love Woody Grant. I love this character so much. And the way Bruce Dern plays him, just the way he walks and talks, it really feels like this old dude who is, interestingly enough to me, he strikes this balance between feeling lost and yet being extremely determined to do something with his life. And again, just like Ejiofor, Bruce Dern really wrings out so much emotion from extremely subtle things, very subtle moments. When there are moments of joy for Woody Grant, you feel that joy. When he's feeling sadness and regret, you completely feel it as well. And he, again, does not succumb to the pressure of, trying to be a show off when it comes to acting. Here, he really brings in this performance of a guy who normally, if you pass by him on the street, you wouldn't pay attention to him, but really deep down, this guy just has so much depth in him, and I can't spoil what that depth is. But really, this whole performance of Bruce Dern, it's just so, it's so magnetic. I think, to me at least, because every word that comes out of this guy's mouth feels like it's worth listening to. Like, he's just so mad and crotchety all the time, but at the same time, you know that the guy's a family man and stuff, and it really feels like Bruce Dern really studied this guy's history and put that into his performance. And I forgot to mention that Ejiofor ended up at third place only for me because I really did think that he wasn't necessarily the central character of every single thing in 12 Years a Slave. Same thing for Bruce Dern, really. He works best as a character when he's kind of with the rest of the film. He doesn't necessarily stand out so much. He works best, in my mind, as, the father to these children and stuff. But mainly, the reason why these guys are numbers 5 to because number one is just unbeatable. That's Matthew McConaughey. Now, McConaughey also transformed for this performance. He lost like 50 pounds. He really gives off that Weasley vibe, just I think he didn't just lose weight, just like the way he walks around also is just, he completely owned this character. And finally, his accent went to good use. It's super heavy Southern accent, like it's matched this character perfectly. But more importantly than his physical transformation, the emotional transformation that Ron Woodruff goes through in this movie is absolutely incredible. Like, this is, like, among the 5 nominees, Ron Woodruff is the character who gets like the most emotional, like, roller coaster ride. This is honestly the best Matthew McConaughey performance I've ever seen, and especially if you've watched like his rom-coms, the transformation of Ron Woodruff from this really bigoted, arrogant dude to someone who is downright depressed about the situation to someone who finds renewed strength and just has the will to live. It's so awe-inspiring. I mean, he plays every single emotional beat of this movie to such a great extent that you are just rooting for this guy. What I love is that Ron Woodruff never lets his swagger down. No matter what's happening, he's still himself. He's not gonna sell his soul to nobody. He's not gonna, listen to the state or whatever. He's just really a fantastic character, and Matthew McConaughey brings him to life so well. And I really do think he deserves this Oscar because, there's no other performance this year I can think of that is as powerful. As for who I think will win, again, this is such a tough thing because I know Bruce Dern won at the Cannes Film Festival, I think, Leo has been winning a lot also. To be fantastic to see him finally win. Like, the Academy has this reputation for giving belated Oscars, you know. Ejiofor, of course, won the BAFTA. It'd be great to see him. Christian Bale already has one Oscar under his arm. But I really do think it's gonna go to Matthew McConaughey because, you know, it really was his year, and Hollywood likes those stories of, you know, redemption kind of after really bad performances in other movies, suddenly turn in a performance that is just mind blowing, and that's what McConaughey did. Alright, so those nominees for Best Actor this year. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think should win? Whatever you guys think, whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.